Silver Oak Bistro's glass door opened hard, and Marcus Bennett entered as he always did, with slow steps, heavy breathing, and that tired look of those who already knew what would come next. He didn't need to look sideways to feel the whispers. The tables near the entrance were already beginning to move. A woman pulled her bag closer. A man adjusted his glasses and murmured something to his wife. Marcus was 38 years old, weighed over 180 pounds, and was used to it. What he didn't expect was what happened 3 seconds later. "Sorry, sir," the voice came from behind the counter. Acute, sharp. "We don't have tables available to you." Marcus stopped. It turned slowly. The manager, a thin man with too much gel hair and too fake smile, was standing with his arms crossed. His badge shone under the yellow light. "Derek Lawson, general manager. There are 3 empty tables there." Marcus pointed calmly. "They are reserved." "All?" Derek shrugged. "All." The whole restaurant was silent. Marcus felt dozens of eyes stuck to him. He felt the weight, literal and figurative, every second, but it didn't move. "All good." He took his cell phone out of his pocket. "I can wait." Derek laughed. Low, cruel. "Look, man, I'll be straight. We have a pattern here. Silver Oak is a refined place. Our customers expect, comfort. And, honestly," he took a quick look from top to bottom. "You don't fit in." Someone choked with water. A child asked loudly, "Mom, why are he sending the man away?" The mother pulled her son back to the chair and whispered something that Marcus could not hear, but managed to imagine. Marcus took a deep breath. Her fingers tightened her cell phone, but her voice came out firm, almost smooth. "I understand. So you are denying me service because of my weight?" "I'm denying it because we value our customers' experience here. And you were going to cause discomfort." A couple at the corner table began to laugh softly. Another man with a gray suit nodded as if he agreed. Derek felt supported. He felt he had an audience. And when people like Derek feel that there is an audience, they always fold the bet. "What's more," Derek continued, straightening the tie, "our chairs have a weight limit. And looking at you, I think it would be a risk." That's when Marcus smiled. It was not a smile of anger, not even humiliation. It was something worse. It was the smile of someone who has seen this scene before, and that knows exactly how it ends. "I understood," Marcus said, keeping his cell phone. "Thanks for the honesty, Derek," and left. Derek turned to the staff behind the counter and clapped once. "Ready? Problem solved." Hostess, a young girl with a straight-haired hair, looked at him with discomfort. "Do you think, was it right to do that?" "Right?" Derek laughed. "I saved everyone's night here. Look around, Jenna. This place is for people who take care." Jenna didn't answer, but his face said everything. Marcus got into the car, an ordinary sedan, not flashy, and was sitting for a whole minute, just breathing, just feeling. He had been born in Detroit, son of single mother. He grew up in rented apartment, eating instant noodles and watching cooking programs on the old TV. From an early age, Marcus knew 2 things. He was fat, and he loved food. Not the way people imagined. It was not about eating until exploded. It was about taste, about texture, about the way a well-made dish could change someone's day. At 16, he got a job as a dishwasher at an Italian restaurant. At 19, he was promoted to the kitchen assistant. At 23, it was fired. The owner said, customers complained about seeing someone like him manipulating the food. Marcus cried that night. But the next day, he took the economies he had, won $200, and opened a sandwiches on the street. 15 years later, Marcus Bennett owned Bennett Hospitality Group, 47 restaurants in 12 states, annual revenues of $89 million, and Silver Oak Bistro was one of them. He visited each unit in person, always disguised, always testing. I wanted to see how its managers treated real customers, not just the rich, not just the thin, not just the well ladies, because Marcus knew that hospitality was not about beautiful decoration or sophisticated menu. It was about dignity, and Derek Lawson had just failed the most important test of his life. Marcus took the cell phone and died. "Schedule a meeting with the legal team. Tomorrow, 8 in the morning. He hung up. He looked at the rearview mirror. Silver Oak shone under the streetlights, full of people laughing, eating, living. For now. Marcus started the car, but before leaving, he did something no one would expect. He looked back at the restaurant, and he wrote down something on his cell phone. 3 names: Derek Lawson, Janet Morales, and a third name no one still knew. It would be important, because Marcus Bennett was not a man to do things in half. When he decided to act, he acted with surgical precision, and Derek was about to find out what happens when you humiliate the wrong person. If you are enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what comes next will let you jaw drop. The next morning, Derek Lawson arrived at Silver Oak with the stuffed chest and a large coffee in his hand. He had slept like an angel, without guilt, undoubtedly. In his head, he had done the right job. "Good morning, champion," he told the sous chef as he passed the kitchen. "Last night was perfect, right? Good movement, no problem." The sous chef, a middle-aged man named Tony, just waved. He had seen the scene, and I didn't like it. Derek didn't even notice. He went straight to the office on the second floor, where he made a point of keeping everything impeccable. Glass table, leather armchair, best manager of the quarter on the wall. Derek loved those awards. He loved to show anyone who came in there that he was good at what he did. But what Derek did not know was that, at that very moment, Marcus Bennett was sitting in a meeting room 20 kilometers, surrounded by 3 lawyers, 2 auditors, and his personal assistant, Elena Rodriguez. "Did he say exactly that?" Elena asked, her eyes wide. "That you didn't fit?" "Exactly that." Marcus was calm, hands intertwined on the table, and that the chairs had a weight limit. One of the lawyers, a graceful man named Peter, released a long sigh. "Marcus, this is clear discrimination. We can sue, and we will win." "I don't want to sue," Marcus said, and everyone in the room looked at him surprised. "So what do you want?" Elena asked. Marcus smiled, that same smile he had given to Derek the night before. "I want to watch." The Derek spent all day doing what he always did, overseeing the waiters, complaining about the cleaning, taking pictures of the full restaurant to post on Instagram with "Excellence has address" subtitles. He had 11,000 followers. Most were staff forced to enjoy. At 3 in the afternoon, he was at the counter when Jenna, hostess, approached with his cell phone in his hand. "Derek, there is a strange email here." "Strange how?" "From the Matrix. They say they will send someone to make a surprise audit." Derek frowned. Surprise audit was rare, but he was not worried. Silver Oak had excellent numbers, high occupancy rate, good reviews on Google. He was sure he would pass with praise. "When?" "Don't say. It just says soon." Derek shrugged. "Let it come. We're impeccable." Jenna said nothing, but something at the bottom of her didn't believe it. That night, Marcus returned to Silver Oak, but this time he didn't enter. It was across the street, sitting on a square bench, watching. He saw Derek greet customers with that fake smile. He saw him laugh loudly, hit a man in a suit, take selfie with a couple. Marcus wrote down everything. Then he saw something that changed everything. A woman entered the restaurant. She was older, maybe 60, and wore simple clothes. Gray hair stuck in a bun. She carried a beaten bag and looked tired. Derek received her at the door. And even at a distance, Marcus managed to read body language. Derek looked at her from top to bottom, made a grimace. "I said something," the woman answered, pointing to an empty table. Derek shook his head. The woman insisted. Derek crossed his arms, and then he just turned his back. The woman stopped there for about 5 seconds, embarrassed, lost, until he left, his head down, while Derek returned inside as if nothing had happened. Marcus felt the blood boil. He took the cell phone and called Elena. "I want Derek Lawson's full history, customer complaints, internal reviews, everything. And I want to know who works with him most. How long? See you tomorrow morning." He hung up and kept watching. Because Marcus Bennett did not make impulse decisions, he watched, he planned, and he executed. And Derek Lawson was about to find out that humiliating people was priceless. 2 days later, Derek received an official email from Bennett Hospitality Group. Subject: Scheduled Operational Audit, Silver Oak Bistro. He read fast. The audit would be on Friday. From there, 3 days. A corporate representative would evaluate care, processes, and team management. Derek laughed alone in the office. "Corporate representative," he murmured. "I bet it's some intern." He sent a message in the team's WhatsApp group. "Guys, audit Friday. Everyone in the Standard. I want this place shining." No one answered. But Jenna, sitting at the reception, looked at her cell phone and felt a tightness in her chest. She had seen Marcus leave that night. I had seen the sadness on his face, and something inside her said that it wasn't going to end well. She just didn't know who. On Thursday night, the eve of the audit, Marcus dinner alone at home. He lived in a simple, well-decorated coverage, but without exaggeration. On the walls, old photos. He with his mother, as a child. He at the inauguration of the first restaurant. He receiving an entrepreneurship prize. Marcus looked at these photos for a long time, and then took the cell phone. He called Elena. "Tomorrow I go personally. Are you sure? We can send someone else." "No, I go." Silence on the other side. "Marcus, will you identify yourself?" He smiled. At the right time. Derek woke up on Animated Friday. He was sure the audit would be quiet. He had even chosen a new tie, navy blue, matching the gray suit, to impress the auditor. When he arrived at Silver Oak, everything was impeccable. Aligned tables, glossy floor, uniform team. "Perfect," Derek said, clapping. "As soon as I like it." Jenna was at the reception, stirring nervously on her hair. Tony was in the kitchen, checking the stocks for the 3rd time. Everyone felt that something was different. At 11 in the morning, the door opened, and Derek felt the floor disappear under his feet, because the one who entered was not an intern. It was Marcus Bennett, the same man he had expelled 3 days ago, and this time Marcus was not alone. He was accompanied by Elena, 2 auditors, and a tender man who carried a black paste. Derek got white. Marcus stopped in front of him. He looked in the eye, and he said, with the calmest voice in the world, "Hi, Derek. Remember me?" Derek couldn't speak. His mouth opened and closed like that of a fish out of water. The whole restaurant stopped. Waiter frozen with trays in hand. Customers turned their heads. Jenna at the reception widened her eyes. Marcus remained stopped there waiting. He was not in a hurry. Derek swallowed dry. "Lord, I didn't know that. What was I?" Marcus interrupted him, his voice still calm but sharp. "The owner? The founder of the company who signs his salary every month?" Derek felt his legs wobbly. Elena, next to Marcus, opened a folder and started flipping through documents. The 2 auditors spread throughout the restaurant, observing every detail. "Let's do the following," Marcus said, finally taking a step forward. "You'll keep working normally. I'm going to sit there." He pointed to a table in the corner. "And I'm going to have lunch, like any customer." Derek opened his mouth to protest, but Marcus raised his hand. "Oh, and Derek, this time I hope you have a chair that can handle my weight." The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus went to the table and sat down. Elena and the auditors spread discreetly, observing everything. Derek stood in the middle of the hall, sweating cold, trying to sue what had just happened. Tony, from the kitchen, looked through the service window and saw Marcus. He knew that face. I had already seen in corporate photos, and finally understood everything. "My God," he murmured to himself. "He is the owner." Marcus ordered a simple dish, grilled salmon with vegetables. He ate slowly, watching each movement in the restaurant. He saw Derek too nervous, giving contradictory orders to the team. He saw confused waiters, trying to understand what was going on. He saw Jenna looking at him with a mixture of guilt and relief. When he finished, Marcus asked for the bill. Derek personally came to bring. "Mr. Bennett," he began, the trembling voice. I wanted to apologize. From what happened. It was a misunderstanding." Marcus took the account. He looked at the value. Then he looked at Derek. "Misunderstanding? I was just trying to keep the restaurant standard." "The standard," Marcus repeated, as if proving the word. "You kicked out a lady of the age of 60 the day before yesterday. I saw." Derek paled even more. She had no reserve and lie." Marcus put the bill on the table. "You dismissed her because she looked poor." Derek did not answer. "I couldn't, because Marcus was right. Do you know what the problem is, Derek?" Marcus got up, setting his shirt. "You think hospitality is about beautiful decoration and rich customers, but it's not. Hospitality is about respect, dignity, and you don't have either." Derek tried to speak, but Marcus was already leaving. Elena and the auditors followed him. Before crossing the door, Marcus stopped and turned. "The audit continues. They will review each complaint, every evaluation, every decision you have made in the last we have 6 months. And Derek?" He gave a cold smile. "Prepare your resume." For the next 3 days, Derek's life became a nightmare. The auditors searched everything, recused client records, filed complaints, conversations in the team's WhatsApp group where Derek mocked inadequate customers. It all came to light, and it wasn't just Marcus that Derek had humiliated. There was a wheelchair man who was informed that there was no proper access, even with a ramp installed, a black woman who was confused with a cleaning employee, a gay couple who received contempt looks and was placed on the back table, near the bathroom. Marcus read each report, each testimony, and he felt a mixture of anger and sadness. How did anyone like this arrived at the manager? He asked Elena, sitting in the corporate office. "He had good numbers," Elena replied. "High occupation, stable profit. No one looked beyond that." Marcus shook his head. "So it's my fault too." "No, it is the fault of those who hired without checking values." But Marcus knew that he had created a system where numbers mattered more than people, and that needed to change. Meanwhile, at Silver Oak, Derek was crumbling. Jenna had given a detailed testimony about everything she saw. Tony, too. Other employees who were once afraid to speak now came to light. One by one, they told stories of how Derek mistreated them, how he created a toxic environment, how he was only kind to whom he considered worthy. Derek tried to defend himself. He sent long emails to the Matrix blaming the employees, saying that they were inventing stories for envy. He tried to call Marcus directly, but the number was blocked. On the 5th night after the audit, Derek was alone in the office, looking at the awards on the wall. Best manager of the quarter. He had thought it meant something, that he was important, but now he realized that he had built everything on top of arrogance and contempt. And the worst, I didn't really feel remorse. I was just afraid of the consequences. Marcus, on the other hand, was busy with something bigger. He summoned a meeting with all Bennett Hospitality Group regional managers. 47 people from 12 different states gathered in a conference room in Chicago. "I found this company with a purpose," Marcus started, standing in front of the room. "Creating places where anyone, no matter who it is, feel welcome. Places where food is good but the treatment is better." He paused. Everyone was silent. "But I failed, because I let people like Derek Lawson represent my brand, and that is over now." Marcus presented a new program: compulsory training in diversity, inclusion, and empathy for all managers, regular surprise audits, and a direct channel where customers could report discrimination anonymously. "Any manager who does not align with these values," Marcus said, the voice firm, "will be fired. No warning, no second chance." The whole room applauded, but Marcus didn't smile. He knew he still had work to do. On Saturday night, a week after the incident, Derek received an email. Subject: contract closing, immediate effect. He didn't even have to open to know what he said. It was fired. Derek sat on the bed, holding his cell phone with handy hands. He tried to call friends, but no one answered. He tried to post something on Instagram but could not find words. For the first time in his life, Derek Lawson was alone, and finally understood what he had done. Marcus, that same night, returned to Silver Oak, but this time, not as a disguised owner, as an assumed owner. He entered, and the whole team stopped. Jenna came to him nervous. "Mr. Bennett, I wanted to thank you for having hurt us." Marcus smiled. "You did the right thing, Jenna, and so I want to offer you the position of manager." Jenna blinked incredulously. "Me? But I'm just hostess. Me? You have empathy. You have the courage. The rest we teach." Tears sprang into her eyes. She waved, unable to speak. Marcus looked around. The restaurant was full, families laughing, couples talking, people of all types, colors and sizes. And for the first time in a long time, Marcus felt he was on the right track. But the story was not over yet. Because Derek Lawson, even fired, had not yet learned the lesson, and what he would do then would shock everyone. Derek Lawson did not accept the silent resignation. Within 3 days next to the shutdown email, he did what desperate people always do. He tried to reverse the irreversible. He called lawyers, threatened to sue unfair dismissal, posted a thread on Twitter talking about cancellation culture and lack of second chance. The post had 47 likes, most of bots. But Derek didn't stop. He was too proud to accept that he had lost. And when pride mixes with despair, people do stupid things. On Wednesday night, he appeared at Silver Oak. Jenna was at the reception when she saw Derek enter. She felt her stomach turn. "Derek, you shouldn't be here. I worked in this place for 4 years," Derek said, his voice too loud. "I built this place, and now they will expel myself because of a misunderstanding?" Tony left the kitchen. 2 waiters stopped what they were doing. The whole restaurant was tense. "Derek," Jenna repeated, firmer, "you need to leave. Or what will you call the police?" "Derek, step ahead. Do you think they are better without me? This place will sink, and when sink, remember that I warned." That's when Marcus entered the door. Derek froze. Marcus said nothing at first, just walked slowly until 2 meters from Derek was. He was accompanied by 2 security guards, large, black suit, who were discreetly positioned on the sides. "Derek," Marcus said, the low and controlled voice, "you have 10 seconds to go out on your own." Derek tried to laugh, but came out like in choking. "You can't intimidate me, Marcus. I know my rights." "Me? 7 seconds. Do you think it's better than me just because you're rich? Do you think—" 4. Derek looked around. All eyes were in it. Jenna, Tony, the waiters, the customers. No one was on his side. No one had ever been. He turned and left, knocking on the door tightly. Marcus took a deep breath. He looked at Jenna. "Are you okay?" She waved, but she was shaking. "He doesn't come back," Marcus said, now to everyone at the restaurant. "And if you turn, the police will deal with him." The customers applauded. Some even got up. Marcus thanked him with a nod and left the back door where Elena was waiting for him in the car. "He won't give up easy," Elena said when Marcus came in. "I know." Marcus straightened the seatbelt, but he has already lost it. He just hasn't noticed yet. The next morning, Derek woke up with 47 messages on his cell phone, all of a group of former Bennett Hospitality Group manager who had been fired in recent years. They had created a group called Wronged by Bennett and were planning a collective action against Marcus. Derek read the messages with wide eyes. Finally, people who understood him, people who had been victims, like him. He typed fast, "I'm inside. Let's destroy this guy." What Derek didn't know was that Elena had already hacked the group, and Marcus was reading each message in real time. 2 days later, Derek and 5 other former managers set a press conference. They rented a room in a cheap hotel and invited local journalists to hear the truth about Marcus Bennett. 3 reporters appeared. One of them was sleeping. Derek started talking. He said that Marcus was a tyrant that fired without reason, who created toxic work environments. The other former manager agreed, each adding their distorted version of the facts. The interview aired that night in a small channel of local news. It had 200 views on YouTube. Marcus watched from the office next to Elena. "They really think this will work," Elena said incredulously. Marcus smiled. "Let me show you how it works." The next morning, Bennett Hospitality Group launched an official statement. It was not a long text. It was not defensive. It was surgical. In the last 15 years, Bennett Hospitality Group has fired less than 2% of its employees. All cases of dismissal have been preceded by multiple documented complaints from clients and teams. Below we submit the public records of the conduct that led to the dismissal of the former administrators mentioned in yesterday's report. And then the bomb came. Marcus released everything. Customer complaints, internal emails, WhatsApp conversations, videos of security cameras showing Derek and the others humiliating employees, expelling customers, making prejudice jokes. Everything was there. Everything was verifiable. The internet exploded. In less than 6 hours, Derek Lawson has become a trend on Twitter, but not the way he wanted it. Derek Lawson exposed. Thousands of people shared the videos. Former clients began to tell their own stories. A wheelchair woman posted a crying video saying that Derek had humiliated her in front of her young daughter. Derek tried to erase his social networks, but it was too late. Everything had already been copied, filed, spread. He locked himself at home, hung up his cell phone, and sat in the dark. For the first time in life, Derek Lawson understood what it was like to be publicly destroyed, and he realized that Marcus Bennett had never had to scream, threaten, or fight. He just needed to let the truth speak. Meanwhile, Marcus was at Silver Oak, having dinner with Jenna, Tony, and the rest of the team. "Health," Marcus said, raising the glass. "At rest. Everyone toast." Jenna smiled from ear to ear. Tony had tears in his eyes. "Mr. Bennett," Tony started, but Marcus interrupted him. "Marcus, only Marcus." Tony waved. "Marcus, thanks for believing in us. I didn't do anything," Marcus said. "You kept this place standing, even with someone horrible in charge." They talked late, laughed, told stories, and for the first time in a long time, Silver Oak seemed what it should be from the beginning, a place of welcome. 3 weeks later, Derek got a job as an attendant in a convenience store. He earned a minimum wage. I worked on the night shift. No one knew who he was. No one cared. One night, a fat client entered the store. Derek felt his stomach tighten. I meant something cruel. I wanted to feel superior, as I always did, but it couldn't, because now he knew what it was like to be on the other side. He served the client in silence. The man thanked and left. Derek was alone behind the counter, looking at his own reflection in the showcase, and for the first time, he was really ashamed. Marcus, that same night, was at the opening of a new restaurant on the chain, this time in New York. He cut the tape, greeted the team, and when he entered, he saw something that made him stop. On the main wall, a huge, illuminated phrase, "Everyone is welcome here, always." Marcus smiled, because finally, after 15 years, he was sure he had built something that was worth it. It wasn't just about food. It wasn't just about profit. It was about dignity, and no one, never again, was going to get it out of him. 6 months later, Marcus Bennett was sitting on the main stage of the National Hospitality Summit in Las Vegas. 3,000 people in the audience. Strong lights, cameras recording live. He had been invited to talk about leadership and inclusion in the restaurant industry, but what he really wanted was to tell a story. "A few months ago," Marcus started, the voice echoing through the auditorium, "I got into one of my own restaurants, and I was sent off." The audience murmured. Some laughed, thinking it was a joke. "It's not funny," Marcus continued. "I was kicked out because, in the manager's view, I didn't fit." The silence settled, heavy, handless. "And you know what I did? I didn't shout it, I didn't fight, I left, and then I did what I always do. I watched, I investigated, and I acted." Marcus told the full story. Derek, the humiliations, the audit, the resignation, Derek's pathetic attempt to turn the narrative, and Marcus's devastating answer, the truth. Today, Derek Lawson works in a job that pays minimum wage, not because I wanted to destroy it, but because he destroyed himself. He had 15 years of opportunities to be better, and he chose to be cruel. The audience applauded, but Marcus raised his hand asking for silence. But this story is not about Derek. It's about all Dereks that are still out there. Managers, supervisors, business owners who think they can choose who deserves respect based on appearance, weight, color, social class. Marcus paused. He looked at the whole audience. Hospitality is not about serving who you like. It's about serving who you need. It's about dignity, and if you can't understand it, then you shouldn't be in this industry. The audience got up, deafening applause. Some people cried. Others shouted, Amen. Marcus waved, thanked him, and left the stage. Behind the scenes, Elena was waiting for him with a huge smile. You rocked. Marcus shrugged. I just said the truth. You know this will go viral, right? And viralized. The video of the lecture had 12 million views in a week. People around the world have begun to share their own stories of discrimination in restaurants, hotels, shops. The movement gained strength. Her dignity first became global trending topic, and Marcus Bennett became a symbol of something larger than himself. Meanwhile, Derek Lawson was still working at the convenience store. One night he was replacing shelves when he saw Marcus's video passed on TV, mounted in the corner of the store. He stopped. He stared, heard every word, and when Marcus said he had 15 years of opportunities to be better, Derek felt something break inside him. It was not anger. It was not injured pride. It was ashamed, royal shame, the one that hurts in the chest and won't leave. Derek dropped the product box on the floor and went to the bathroom, locked the door, sat in the vase, and finally, after months, he cried, not of self-pity, but of regret, because he finally understood that he had wasted years being a horrible person, and that may never be able to fix it. 3 months later, Marcus received a letter. It was not digital. It was handwritten, in paper-based, with trembled lyrics. Mr. Bennett, my name is Derek Lawson. I know you don't want to hear from me, and I understand. I've spent the last few months trying to understand how I got where I arrived, and the truth is that I was always like this. Arrogant, cruel. I thought it made me important, but it didn't. It just made me empty. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I saw your talk, and I finally understood. The Lord did not destroy me. I did it alone. Thanks for showing me who I really was, even if it has hurt. Derek. Marcus read the letter 3 times. Then he folded it and kept it in the drawer. Elena, who was next door, asked, Are you going to answer? Marcus thought for a long moment. No. Why? Because some lessons we learn alone, and he finally learned his. The Silver Oak Bistro, under the management of Jenna, became the highest-rated restaurant on the chain. It implemented a training program that became a model for all other units. Tony was promoted to executive chef, and the entire team gained performance bonuses. Marcus visited the restaurant every week. I always sat on the same table as the corner, always asked for the same dish, grilled salmon with vegetables, and every time he looked around and saw exactly what he had dreamed 15 years ago, a place where everyone was welcome, families, couples, elderly, young people, skinny, fat, rich, poor, all together, all respected. A year after the incident, Marcus opened more restaurants, all with the same philosophy, all with the same sentence on the wall. Everyone is welcome here, always. And at each inauguration, Marcus repeated the same thing for the team. You are not just here to serve food, you are here to serve dignity. And if someone gets in that door, no matter who it is, you will treat this person as if it were the most important in the world. Because maybe, that day, they need to believe it is. Derek never worked in the hospitality industry. He continued in the convenience store. It became shift manager. It earned little, but it treated every customer with respect, especially those that looked tired, or sad, or different, because now he knew everyone carries something, and that kindness costs nothing. Marcus Bennett never forgot that night at Silver Oak, the humiliation, the pain, the feeling of being invisible. But he never forgot what came later, the strength, revenge for dignity, and the victory. Not because he was rich, not because he was powerful, but because he was resilient, and because he turned pain into purpose. Yet today, Bennett Hospitality Group is one of the largest restaurant chains in the United States. 90 restaurants, 20 states, thousands of employees, and they all know one thing. The best revenge is not to destroy who hurt you. It is to build something so big, so beautiful, so important, that their cruelty becomes just an insignificant detail in their history. Marcus Bennett proved that, and keep proving, all day, because in the end, prejudice can bring you down for a moment, but dignity gets you up forever. If you liked this story of overcoming injustice, you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because here, we always believe that kindness and courage win in the end, always.